misdemeanors not related to truthfulness. And another, was that also in 2008?
There's a possession of THC 2008,
Yeah, okay.
and then a disorderly conduct and a criminal damage to property in 2008.
Yeah, I don't have a 10-year rule. On the other hand, I don't think I would consider those.
If I don't have a strong, I just wanted the court's final ruling on it.
Right, well,
If you're not going to let him in, then you're not going to let him in.
yeah, I don't think so.
Very good.
Okay. Ready to go?
Yes.
Judge, please.
Before we begin, the next witness that I am going to be calling is the one I discussed earlier about photos and video.
Oh,
And I don't believe there was a defense objection on that. I don't want to speak for them, but if we're going to do something different, we need to do it now because this
okay.
is the time.
This has been discussed, and there are valid reasons for it, which I'm not going to take the time to go into right now. But there will be no photographs or motion or video of any kind during the testimony of the next witness. Any question?
Okay, so I wanted to come on real quick, guys, and let you know I've got some baby duty to take care of, but I do want you to know that there is no video allowed for this state's witness. Shh. The judge did say that right before they cut to this. And so they will be back when this witness is over as far as video and audio goes. So there is no video for this particular witness. We will not see this witness, it looks like. So, I'm not sure. I don't remember who this witness was or what the state's lawyer said about them earlier. I don't remember that. So I guess we're just kind of in a waiting period until this witness is done being interrogated. Okay, so I'm going to, I got some baby duty to get onto. I'll see you guys back here in a little while. Okay, so that stream ended because it's taking a long time for them to talk to this witness. Which we know that witness we know that the cross examinations of these witnesses can be pretty long. And oh my gosh, I'm looking at some of these chats and I'm just like, there's bots. There's so many bots in these chats. They're horrible. You guys won't believe the thing I saw yesterday in one of the chats. I mean, they just are like spamming the chats. It's crazy. Anyway, so I got done with baby duty. Oh, nice. I'm working on getting light going on. That's pretty good light. Let's see here. So for right now, I mean, there's not a whole lot for me to talk about, I don't think. And since we're waiting on this witness to be done, let's see, I can bring this. I mean, it's just basically a hold screen until they're done. If it ain't the baby, it's the dog. I just ordered some more equipment so that it's allows BCP to stay engaged with here instead of over here where all of the things are. It's so expensive. This job is really expensive. It takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of funds to keep everything running. So, you know, there's people who have blessed us with equipment, and I'm just so thankful because it takes a lot to run this. It really does. It looks like so if you guys feel led at onamericanstreets.com, you can donate if you'd like to help in any way. I want to throw that out. Oh, thank you, Linda, for posting the link. Also, there's the new merchandise in the store. And if you're new here, please like, subscribe, and share, because sharing is one of the biggest things you can do to help the channel, to support. So, let's see here. Well, I'm going to bring this, it's a feed from, it's a local Kenosha feed. I'm going to bring that in until the next witness is brought up. Okay? And I will check back in.
Okay, folks, this is, this last witness, we're going to leave that right where it is right now because there's some technical matters that have to be worked out, communication issues, and that should be easily resolved, and we'll get that taken care of. And then in the meantime, we're going to bring another witness up so as not to waste the time. Okay.
The state calls Corey Washington.
To give this matter be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
You may be seated.
Good afternoon.
How's it going?
Could you make sure you pull that microphone really close so we can hear you well?
Sure.
Could you state your name for the record and spell your first and last name?
Corey Washington. Corey spelled Koerrri. Washington is Washington.
Are you, what is your current employment?
I'm self-employed.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm social media influencer.
And would that include doing live streams on Facebook?
Yes.
Now, do you live here in Kenosha?
Yeah.
How long have you lived here?
My entire life, I was born and raised here.
And did you go to school here?
Yes.
Whereabouts?
Starting from elementary school.
Middle school and high school.
I went to Washington Middle School, Ruther and ITA.
And you mentioned that you do some work on social media. Were you involved in doing some live streaming on the night of August 25th, 2020?
Yes.
Why were you out there doing that on that particular night?
There was a lot happening in the city.
What was your purpose in trying to document that?
Just create transparency.
What do you mean by that?
When things are going on, there's a bunch of opinions. You never know, what really might happen. So people like myself tend to go out and document situations just so there's a record of things. A lot of the time, especially, the media, there's sound bites and things that can be utilized. And in my opinion, people like myself make things better for everyone because it helps show at least another side of the full picture.
Now, tell us what was going on in Kenosha around the time period of August 25th, 2020, in your own words.
There was a lot of protesting. There was a lot of property damage that ended up happening throughout the week. Some would say riots, civil unrest. Some would say uprising.
Would it be fair to say that that began after the shooting of Jacob Blake on Sunday night, August 23rd?
It definitely began after the shooting of Jacob Blake.
When did you personally begin your process of live streaming or documenting what was going on?
The night the shooting of Jacob Blake took place?
Sunday night?
Yes, Sunday night.
Tell us about what you did.
Starting from the beginning.
On that particular night after the shooting, I assume you made some sort of decision, I need to be out there taking video?
I mean, it was a Sunday night. Typically, I try not to work on Sundays. I had just taken a lady friend of mine to dinner. We got back, received a phone call, received a message with a video, saw the video. They said, hey, we're probably going to need you to come document. And I was like, of course. So I just went out, went to the location where the shooting took place, kind of just watched and, documented as people kind of gathered onto the scene and as things kind of progressed throughout the night.
Do you recall approximately how long you spent out there that night?
Several hours.
All in the area near where the shooting occurred?
No. So, the shooting occurred. There was, bedlam took place. The police ended up leaving. A march ensued. I followed the protesters to the courthouse here and the safety center and kind of just followed along wherever everything was kind of taking place.
Tell us in your own words what you observed about what was going on with the protests and things like that.
From that point,
Let's start with that first evening, Sunday night. You said there was a march from the site of the shooting to this area. What did you observe?
So, well, when I arrived on the scene, there was a crowd already there. It wasn't too large of a crowd, but over a period of a few hours, the crowd became getting larger and larger and larger. You could start seeing license plates and people from out of town showing up on the scene. Once there was, I'd say, too many people, I guess, for the sheriff's department to handle in that location. They spoke with the gentleman. After they spoke with him, I guess they decided to leave. They came back to the police station, and then afterwards, the crowd was there, and they're like, all right, let's head to the courthouse. So I just followed along the way.
By the time the crowd got to this area by the courthouse, can you give us an estimate of how many people were involved?
Few hundred people, maybe. It's hard to say. It was, by that time, it's incredibly dark outside. There is a heavy police presence. I believe by the time the protesters got to the location, there was already, I believe, police from neighboring counties and cities already here to help. So to me, I'm maybe 500 people. I'm not sure off top. There was definitely a lot of people over time, and it kind of seemed to just kind of keep growing as things progressed throughout the night.
Now, once the crowd got into this area by the courthouse, did they primarily stay here, or did the action move elsewhere?
So as far as I could tell, initially things kind of remained outside of the safety center building. There was a lot of, sheriffs and police in riot gear kind of lined up. There were protesters kind of going back and forth with police officers, things of that nature. At a certain point, I don't know what happened. There was like tear gas deployed. People kind of started, spreading out. People were getting shot with rubber bullets. I had got shot and stuff like that too at the time of all of the disbursement. Took a few minutes to kind of, gather myself, got some attention, someone kind of patched me up or whatever. Get out, out here to face Civic Center Park, right out in front of the courthouse here. And that's when I kind of noticed things were, I guess you could say, out of control. Throughout the entire summer, there had been a lot of protests going on, activists kind of going out, peacefully protesting, letting their voices be heard. So I was out, documenting all of that. But the moment when I came out and we had the roads blocked off with the garbage trucks or whatever, kind of to, I guess, contain the crowd or whatnot. But when I came out, I noticed all of the garbage trucks were on fire. That was kind of the point where I was like, oh, all right, this is not like anything that's been going on all summer. So,
did you see other incidences of property damage after that?
Yeah.
What can you tell us about that?
There was a lot that was kind of going on. Of course, the trucks were on fire. I filmed someone going into the back of a truck probably a few minutes after it had exploded from the gasoline catching fire, going to the back trying to find debris or something to, break windows or whatever it may be. Captured someone throw, it seemed like a napalm or something, onto the courthouse. That got extinguished. And then there was another point where, some masked individuals in black were trying to burn down the dinosaur museum. So, for the most part, I try to not involve myself. The situation with the dinosaur museum, I involved myself in the situation just because, we don't have much stuff around here, and I'm a father, I have kids, I've grown up, I've gone to the dinosaur museum. So at that point, I kind of realized, I suppose, it was not like, this is getting way too out of hand, not saying that I condone people, being aggressive towards police or the courthouse or anything like that. But I could understand their grievances, I suppose, in the situation. But when it started leaking out to other stuff, like the dinosaur museum and stuff like that, that's when I was like, okay, well, this is...
The dinosaurs didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with anything that was going on.
What did you do to involve yourself in that situation? You said you did with the Dinosaur Museum?
I mean, I stepped up, I kind of shouted at the crowd, like, hey, like, what are you doing? Kind of slightly interrogated one of the people that I assumed was involved. He seemed pretty passionate about burning it down or whatever it may be. And from there, kind of people in the crowd, I guess, I don't know, kind of were like, hey, yeah, he's kind of making a point or whatever. And then from there was kind of a dispute, and I kind of found a way to kind of get myself out of the situation because it seemed to be getting pretty heated. So, and
Did you observe any property damage that first night, Sunday night, in any other parts of Kenosha?
What's your response?
Well, I think first of all, it lays sort of the context of the whole situation. But second of all, there's been a lot of allusion to the fact that the defendant was motivated to come down here in response to this. So I think it's important that we get evidence about what it was that was going on. You may continue.
So for the most part, of course, you know, there was people that kind of trickled into other areas. But as far as I was able to see and document, and for the time that I was out there, which was quite a while, most people were kind of staying together in the same group, in the larger group. But of course, you know, in a hot situation like that, of course, there's going to be people with their own motives and objectives that may go out and do other things as well.
So I guess my question was, did you personally witness property damage along, say, 22nd Avenue, for example, or 60th Street, or any other parts of town that night?
No, not that I recall. Of course, when the march was happening from the location of the shooting to the courthouse, I mean, there was, you know, traffic stoppages and things of that nature, but people weren't being violent with random pedestrians or anything like that. It was really just like a march to this area.
Okay.
And until we got over here, that's when actual damage started taking place.
Now, I believe you indicated that there were times during the summer where you were out recording people who were letting their voices be heard here in Kenosha. Is that fair to say?
Yep, multiple times a week.
Did you kind of get an idea of who kind of the main people were involved in those sorts of events?
Mm-hmm.
Is that yes?
Yes.
On this Sunday night,
Mm-hmm.
after Jacob Blake was shot,
Right.
did there appear to be a different type of crowd to you?
Yes. So in my opinion, so initially, you know, the people that were on the scene are familiar faces. As things got more and more heated and more people started showing up, faces started to become more unfamiliar. I noticed at a certain point, I know for a fact the gentleman that talked to the sheriff before the sheriff's department and the police department ended up leaving was a gentleman, I believe, from Black Lives Matter, Milwaukee. But I had not seen him before, and I mean, if you review some of my footage, I recall saying several times, like, who is this guy? Why are they talking to this guy, to kind of figure out what's going on? Because at the end of the day, most of these people seem to just be people that are passionate about what happened, but not organized at all. So. And
when you were out on that Sunday night, were you live streaming on Facebook?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yes. Is it possible for folks to still go up and see that on your Facebook
Yep,
page?
everything that I've ever recorded, unless it was taken down by Facebook, and I haven't received any notice that anything has been pulled, it's all live on my Facebook.
So let's fast forward to the next night, Monday night,
Mm-hmm.
the second night of protests and whatnot. Were you out live streaming that night?
Yes.
How would you characterize the events of Monday night as compared to Sunday night?
So at nighttime, I would say it's worse because there was more people here. It seemed, in my opinion, it just seemed that it was, I guess, the best case scenario for something like this to happen, just with everything that was going on in the nation. There was a giant migration from the west headed to Washington. The situation with George Floyd was hot in Minnesota, and people were kind of close to get here. I'm sure everyone knows there's plenty of people from Minnesota that ended up in Kenosha that night and the following nights. The next night, that Monday night, there was protests and things throughout the day. As far as I recall and remember, during the day, everything was peaceful. There was talks of, hey, like, we can't allow stuff like that went on before to go on again. But as, nightfall comes, there's more mysterious people in the city. You don't really know, everybody. And again, everybody has their own motives, really, in a situation like that. So you definitely could tell that there was plenty of people being, I suppose, opportunistic about the situation.
Some of the more noteworthy instances of property damage during all this, I don't know if you're familiar with them or not. The Car Source lot over on the east side of Sheridan burned one of these nights. Are you personally familiar with that?
Yes.
Did you witness any of that?
Mm-hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
What night was that? Do you recall?
I believe it was Monday night.
There was also a lot of damage to the uptown area along 22nd Avenue.
Yes.
Did you witness any of that?
Yes.
Do you remember which night that was?
I believe that was Monday night as well.
And then I know the probation and parole office on 60th Street burned down. Do you remember if that was Monday night as well?
I believe it was. Again, I'm sorry, I don't, it's not something that I necessarily really wanted to go back and review several hours of, with everything that kind of transpired. So I believe it was more than likely that Monday night. I know for sure when the parole office burned down, I was there. I saw people go into it. I heard people say, let's burn down the parole office, and witnessed it on fire.
So witnessed it on fire.
Witnessed it on fire.
So let's go to the night of Tuesday night, August 25th, 2020, the night when the events of this case occurred. Were you out live streaming that night as well?
Yes, I was.
And how would you compare Tuesday night to the previous couple of nights?
I would say it was calmer, much calmer. The crowd was more contained. There was a march that happened. That kind of ended towards the end of the night, maybe around 6:30 or 7 or so. That ended at Civic Center Park. The conversation that was had at the end of the march was, hey, everybody remain peaceful. Go home after this if if you're seriously about, wanting change and wanting justice, to go home. After that was said, people dispersed. A lot of people did go home, but there was people that didn't go home, of course. And those people that didn't go home, they kind of stayed there at Civic Center Park there until at a certain point they were kind of driven out of the park.
Were you there to witness the interactions between those people in Civic Center Park and the police at this particular scene?
Yes.
On that night?
Yes.
Would it be fair to say that there were some fairly violent confrontations between the protesters and the police right outside of this courthouse that night? Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
Other than that, were you checking around the area to see whether there was property damage in other parts of the downtown area that night?
Yes, so I generally what I would do, I would always kind of survey the area to see what was kind of going on. I'd find the crowd, figure out where the crowd was, see what they're doing, kind of go in the general area around, a couple block radius or whatever it may be.
So when you were watching the crowd that Tuesday night, other than the demonstrations out in front of the courthouse, did you witness a lot of other arson, looting, property damage, that sort of thing on that particular night?
No, not on Tuesday night.
Now, there came a time in which you were recording your live stream along Sheridan Avenue, is that right?
Yes, Sheridan Road, yeah.
And are you familiar with the Ultimate gas station?
Yes.
Okay. And that's at 60th and Sheridan, is that right?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that you spent some time that night recording some video?
Yes, yeah.
We're going to play a portion of your live stream. Could we begin at 18 minutes, please? And this has been marked as exhibit number 11. And I hope so. Let me just make sure that the power's on and everything. No, that doesn't work. I want to pause for 1 second before we continue. Mr. Washington, what we're seeing on that screen, is that the live stream that you recorded on the night of August 25th?
Yes.
And do you recognize the location that's being shown in that video?
Yes, that's the at the Ultimate gas station facing west,
Okay,
kind
thank-
of looking at the church. I believe it's a church right there.
All right, thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. I meant to turn the power on, but it may not have kicked on. Oh, I got to hit the input button. Sorry, thank you.
They're about to light up this garbage can. So they got a fire in the street. And you got the dumpster, excuse me. So the dumpsters are
I'm going to pause 1 more second just to help everybody understand what we're looking at here. First of all, we just heard someone's voice. Was that your voice?
yeah,
Okay.
muffled because I had a mask on.
Sure, I
don't always
understand.
sound like that.
Do you have that easel still? I'm just going to have you show us on this map so everybody's oriented to where we're at. I've got a map here of the city, so I just want to have you point out where we're at so everybody can kind of put it into context.
Okay.
Oh, yes, right here. We'll have you use this,
Okay.
this little button here.
Pointer will not, okay.
All right, Mr. Washington, I've got a map up of the downtown area of Kenosha. Can you please point out where the Ultimate gas station is? Okay, and that is at the intersection, the southeast corner of 60th and Sheridan. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. As you, the video we were just watching, which disappeared for a second, but is back.
Hold on. Is that where the Methodist church is?
I was just going to ask that question.
No. Southeast of 60th and Sheridan. At least when I went past it on my way here this morning, I thought that that was the Methodist church.
So, Judge, the southeast corner is Ultimate Gas. The southwest corner is First United. On this map, north is up.
Did you say 60th and Sheridan?
I did.
What am I doing wrong?
I agree, Your Honor, that the Ultimate's in the
Huh?
southeast. I don't want to disagree with you, but the Ultimate is the southeast corner.
Where have the Methodists been going to church?
That's across the street, Judge.
All right, I'm going to accept the correction. But,
So, Mr. Washington, just so we understand, you had described in your video that at one point, and I think at this point as we look, is that video now pointed west?
Yes.
And on the map there, it indicates that the Methodist Church is across the street to the west of Ultimate Gas. Is that right?
Yep, right there.
Okay.
that's what I said, isn't it?
Of course, Your Honor, of course. Please continue. Thank you.
Oh yeah, that dumpster is about to be lit up. What the fuck is he doing? Not working.
Why you do that? Why you do that? Why you do that?
for a second here because we're going to be viewing someone that I want to talk a little bit about. I assume since the night of August 25th, 2020, you're aware of who Joseph Rosenbaum is. Would that be fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. And let me just put you back in the state of mind of that particular night. As of August 25th, 2020, did you know who he was?
No.
To your knowledge, had you ever encountered him before in your life?
No.
Okay. I don't know if you're familiar with this video or not, but for the benefit of the jury, do you know, are you able to recognize Mr. Rosenbaum in this video? He's not shown on the screen at this very moment because we paused a little bit. I didn't call timeout.
Oh.
It was a little later. But let me just ask generally, are you able to recognize him if you see him on the screen?
Yeah, I would know what he looks like, yes.
And that's based on what you've learned since all this happened?
Yes.
Okay. And just, I don't think there'll be any dispute about this. I'll represent for the ladies and gentlemen of the jury that Mr. Rosenbaum is wearing a red shirt. He's got some, I think they're jean shorts, aren't they? And I don't think he's got anything, I don't think he's got anything on his head at this point, does he? Okay. So he's kind of a shorter gentleman with nothing on his head, a red shirt. And you've got some video of him that we're going to see momentarily, so I wanted to let the jury know that so as we're watching, you know what to look for. So go ahead. Thank you.
Probably not the smartest. Yo, don't throw shit over here, bro. They about to. Bro. I'm not trying to get fucking shot. Damn, bro.
Stop doing shit!
People ready to fire on people, bro. We got people in position.
He look like he want to shoot somebody.
No, he finna shoot them. He ain't trying to shoot them.
Pause for a second there, Mr. Washington. What you're seeing on the screen there, with all the people and all the action on that screen, at any point during this particular incident that we're watching, did anyone fire a gun?
No.
Did you see anyone get physically injured in any way?
No.
Please continue.
Asshole. You too excited. You too happy, motherfucker. You too happy. You too happy with a motherfucker.
Yeah, they're not about to just let you just.
Too happy. Please, bitch, get your son.
So it looks like the cops are leaving now. Looks like the cops are now leaving. Yo, don't. Come on, bro. What are y'all doing, bro? Yo, bro. Come on, bro. Shit is fucking. Come on, bro.
I got a son like this too. I'm just ain't carrying mine.
Exactly.
Damn, dude.
I'm gonna shoot mine. If I bring mine now, we're gonna get shot.
Cops left, and as soon as they left, things just got heated. I'm not about to stand. in a line of fire at all. That's not going to be good. No, I'm good, man. Damn, dude, I'm throwing rocks. So they headed back. Definitely people throwing rocks. Be careful. Careful, because they're throwing rocks. Hey, how's it going? Good. Yeah, it says.
Corey, how long have you been here?
For a bit.
Hey, yo, they trying to circle us in. They trying to circle us in.
Cops right there, they're circling us in. Y'all worried about the wrong shit right now.
That organization trying to redirect the crowd.
go to this gas station all the time, so hopefully it'll be fun. This is where I get cash out of the ATM. If it's across the street, it's more expensive. Indeed, bro.
I was literally saying that, and bitches got in my face. I'm like, bro, I was the one saying everyone calm down.
Everybody's just gonna have to agree to disagree, I think, man.
Mr. Washington, in that excerpt we just watched, I saw a number of individuals that were armed. Did you see that as well?
Yes.
And what was your understanding of what their purpose was out there that evening? If you have one.
I mean, honestly, I didn't talk to everyone individually, so, I mean, it's
If you
hard
don't
to
know, that's
really
fine.
answer that.
Sure. It appeared to me that there were folks that had long rifles, like AR-15s. Are you familiar with those at all?
Yeah.
Did you see folks at the Ultimate gas station armed with that type of rifle?
Yes.
How many would you estimate you saw?
Consistently at like one time or throughout a period of time?
At one time, that were all there. at one time.
Maybe like 24, maybe a little more, something like that. Anywhere, but I'd say between 15 to 25 people.
And in the videos we saw there, or the section we just saw, it appeared that there were people kind of getting in the face or getting aggressive with some of those folks that were armed. Did you see that?
Yes, so as far as I recall, there was a lot of discourse happening, heated discourse, but conversations being had.
Did you see that lead to any violence? Anybody punch one another, shoving each other, shooting at one another, anything along those lines?
No, maybe there may have been nudging or something, not that I recall seeing, but nothing that would make you stop and direct your attention to it.
And I believe in that section we just watched, I saw two separate instances of dumpsters being set on fire. Did you see those as well?
Yes.
I don't know if that was the same dumpster twice or two
I
separate.
believe it may have been the same dumpster.
Okay. And other than that being a perfect metaphor for the year 2020, did you see any property damage as a result of the dumpster fires?
No. As far as I recall, the dumpster was lit on fire because the police pulled up in an MRAP and it seemed like protesters were like shoving it towards the police. It didn't seem like they were trying to destroy buildings with it or blow up the gas station or anything like that. There was a lot of people there. I don't know if people would let them do that.
And I want to ask that specifically because you're standing right next to the gas pumps in the video. Is that right?
Yes.
Did you feel like that was an unsafe place based on the dumpster fire and anything like that?
No.
Did you see anyone ever push those anything on fire towards the gas pumps?
No.
Okay. When you were doing your live stream, were there folks watching that you were aware of?
Yes.
Were you able to respond to them or communicate with them as the live stream was going on?
Yes.
Okay.
Throughout, I'm sorry to cut you off. That's why throughout, like, the live stream, I mentioned, like, going to the ultimate gas station to get cash out of the ATM. There's always viewers, some people from town, some people from out of town, some people with questions and stuff like that. There was a lot of, when we had protests for, I guess, the big protest for George Floyd earlier in, I believe, May of 2020, there was a lot of disinformation that was going on. So what I generally do with my live streams is I look to the chat to see if there's things going on in certain areas, to see if people are spilling out somewhere, to see if, you know, things are actually happening somewhere, or to kind of quash, you know, false rumors or whatever.
Your Honor, I do have an excerpt that I'm going to play next that's probably going to be about 12 or 13 minutes long. I don't know if you want to take a break now and continue in the morning.
Are we going to? Will we end up breaking afterwards, and without this witness being complete?
Well, I may be done with my direct at that point. I'm not sure.
Well, we have to have him back for cross anyway. So
Yeah.
let's break for the day. And please don't talk about the case overnight. Read, watch, or listen to any account of the trial. We'll start again tomorrow at 9 and hopefully get right at it. And what? The clerk will talk to you about tomorrow arrangements. And I'm sorry, Mr. Washington, you can step down. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, I'm going to ask that everybody leave the room right away, except for, pardon me? Well, or they can stay here. These people have to, all right, whatever you say. I'm going to turn it over to you. All right, thank you. The jurors, the clerk wants to talk to them.
Do you want them to go upstairs, Becky?
Or do you want them in here? It's probably easier. Well, it's easier in here, but I don't know.
Okay,
How long is it going to take the
so
media to scatter? Can I talk to you photographers for a minute?
We have an issue with regard to firearms that have been marked and admitted as exhibits.
Okay, would you? Yeah, that's probably the best.
he's still
All
talking.
right, you can go up to the jury room, please, and the clerk will deal with your issues. Give them back to the place.
They're just kind of wrapping up in the courtroom now. Judge is kind of
Any
tying
objection
up
to
some
the police
loose
holding
ends.
those, pending the outcome of the trial? Okay. Or maybe you could just.
One juror's gonna go up by elevator, I'm assuming?
I'm wondering if that's going to be it then. It's kind of. Is that Kyle's mom? Or just. No, probably not. Is it? I don't know. They kind of look similar. Just trying to wait to see if they're done for the day. We're just trying to see if. I don't know. Just watch them make sure they leave. Thank you so much, Julie. Yeah, BCP is going to be heading on some travel in the next in this month and actually next month. Going to a big it's a critical race tour that Turning Point USA is putting on in December. But this month he's going to the Awakening, to LA. It's going to be back to Arizona, possibly another border trip.
Sean and Mark, I'm going to ask that you guys, and of course I already spoke about the shooting over the tree. Can you not do any of these perp walk type things when witnesses come up? And you can take them on the stand, no problem. But wait till they're on the stand and then take them. Of course. Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. Good. Thank you.
I like this judge. He just knows what he wants and he lets people know what that is. Okay, so yeah, there's going to be some travel, also some big equipment purchases that had to happen to upgrade. We actually have a pretty big surprise for you guys coming up as far as the upgrade goes. Thank you so much, Witchy. We so appreciate you for the donation on Cash App. You're awesome. Thank you so much. You've blessed us in big ways. Let's see here. Okay, so tomorrow we will meet back here at 9 a.m. Central Time, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard, and 10 a.m. Eastern Time. So, let's see here. I am tired. It's been a long day for me. I don't, Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, every single thing that you could possibly find, you can find at the BC Preacher. At the BC Preacher. Cash App is the $, the BC Preacher, I believe. 8 o'clock Mountain. Oh yeah, I forget Mountain. So 7 Pacific, 8 o'clock Mountain, 9 o'clock Central, and 10 o'clock Eastern. See you here. Be there. Be missing out on baby interruptions. It'll just be me and baby girl tomorrow as well. They won't. The boys won't be home until later on in the day. Thank you all for hanging out with me. You know, I didn't really. I was kind of busy during this last witness, and I think BCP will probably go through a lot of what that witness had to say. I know I saw him comment on it a little bit. You know, he's a live streamer, and likely a live streamer for the other side. I know that a lot of the live streamers, even if they wanted to try and be neutral, because I know BCP tried to be neutral for the most part too, but you still have your beliefs and you still kind of have bias. And, you know, one of the people that I saw be, excuse me guys, I'm so sorry, super neutral was Andy No. He reported what was happening regardless of what side, and that's actually what got Antifa coming after him, is because he didn't really have a side. He was out there doing real journalism, you know? And I know that BCP has always tried to give what was happening regardless of what side. But things have kind of shifted in the last year, and it's really devastating to see that. Like, we just watched that short clip of the live streams, and they're here questioning whether Kyle Rittenhouse should have even been there because of curfew. He's being charged with broken curfew. And yet here we are watching this video of all these people standing around at this gas station. Are they all being charged with breaking curfew? Or were we just adding charges on top of this kid because he did something else? So you have to commit a crime to then be charged with the breaking curfew thing? I mean, how are you even going to attempt to charge him with breaking curfew? How do you even attempt to charge him with breaking curfew when we're going to watch all of these videos? Because that's the first. It won't be the last. We'll watch all of these videos throughout this entire trial of all of these people breaking said curfew. A government curfew. Parental curfews, okay, fine. Government curfews, you can flush those down the toilet. I do not believe in a governmental curfew. And so I think that's just super bizarre. And then you've got all of the weapons and the firearms. And I believe that the opening statement of the state's lawyer kept hammering the fact that the only one who killed somebody was Kyle Rittenhouse. All these people had weapons, and they didn't think that one person was going to fear for their life. Not one. Not one person was ultimately going to fear for their life at some point in time when people are carrying around the weapons and they're acting all crazy and they're beating up on people and they're stomping them in their face. And you don't think that somebody's going to, I mean, how many people got stomped in the face that day, Mr. Lawyer Guy? You know? So, because I'm sure if somebody out there, one of those other people who were carrying weapons were getting stomped in the face and slammed with skateboards in their head, they probably would have reacted much differently with the weapon they were carrying. So it's just super bizarre. Thanks for joining me here, guys. Okay, so if you're new here, like, comment, follow, subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell and select all notifications, so we're not depending on Facebook and YouTube to decide which notifications you should receive and which ones you shouldn't. And also, if you feel led to, you can find us at onamericanstreets.com. You can donate. You can shop the store. We got some new gear in there. Let's Go Brandon gear, which I designed myself and I think is pretty neat. And we will see you back here tomorrow. Okay, so I'm gonna head out, and you guys will see BCP later on tonight. Today is Tuesday, yeah. So he should be on later on tonight. Okay, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning. Bye.